Snipers, you have to see what's happening in the Bitcoin price this Wednesday as we are halfway through the week. Bitcoin could potentially make a move in the next 24 to 48 hours as it has been consolidating inside of this range where we have the previous weekly open as our major resistance at 31,300. If we get hourly and 4-hour candle confirmations above this resistance, as you snipers know, there's a potential 10% upside move for Bitcoin to test its range resistance at 34,788. And we've yet to come down to test levels below 28,000. That's where we have our stop loss for our long position right now. And the reason we have our stop loss there is that is where Bitcoin tested amongst the collapse of Luna, where the fear was the most extreme. And we've been maintaining that thesis that maybe this right now for Bitcoin could be a potential place where it reprices itself back towards levels to what we saw pre-Luna collapse. And that would also show confluence. Notice how we could right now, potentially soon in the next 24 to 48 hours while you're watching this video, come up. We are on our 8th red weekly candle to at least test the resistance of this downtrend. For those that expect Bitcoin to see further lows, we could at least expect a relief rally getting above 31,300 towards the $35,000 level. And the reason I think that it could come here very soon, snipers, is just notice how the time is really ticking right now for Bitcoin to want to come and test this structural resistance to see whether it wants to maintain this downtrend. And so it looks like over the next 24 to 48 hours, there is a high chance that we're going to see an upside relief rally. It is going to come very soon. We've yet to come below 28,000. And what's interesting about that is notice how many daily candles have closed inside of this range, moving sideways, maintaining this higher low. And the most interesting part, in my opinion, is equities have actually been selling off through this time that Bitcoin has been moving sideways. And so despite Bitcoin having every reason to see further downside, it's yet to do so. And I want to also address this. The DXY, which has been the cause of the downside as of recently, is now starting to see weakness. You can see this is our second red weekly candle. We're starting to see calmness, and there's certainly a lot more room that the DXY could see to the downside. And so in my opinion, the DXY calming down is starting to become a bullish puzzle piece for Bitcoin. That's a very positive thing to see. Ethereum holding 1980 right now, the price. What's most important, snipers, is the present moment. The price at 1980. This is a major level. And so could we say that there's at least a potential for a relief rally for Ethereum to come to 2519, which would be showing confluence with this channel that Ethereum broke, a macro channel support, which could potentially be tested as a resistance. You can see on the weekly, we've yet to test it. That's right around that $2,500 level. And then the other thing we'll monitor as well, snipers, really quick, is going to be Bitcoin dominance. I think that once Bitcoin makes its move, whether it's to the upside or downside, it's clearly indecision right now. You could have been long or short over the last few days, and you are still at the same place. So it is very undecided. You're either long or short. Notice how Bitcoin dominance also just starting to pause here. And here's the thing. If we expect Bitcoin dominance to move further up towards 50%, we're also expecting the gold to Bitcoin chart to do the same thing because there has been a slight correlation with these two. And notice how it would be sort of abnormal, in my opinion, for the gold to Bitcoin chart at this point to even go further beyond its 100-week moving average. We know this is in a macro bearish trend, and we are testing levels that we haven't tested since Bitcoin initially formed its all-time high from the $60,000 to $69,000 level, whether you're going to count the higher high that formed or just the initial high at 64,000. You can see we're above that for the gold to Bitcoin ratio. And so I would at least expect this at this point to be overbought and that we'd see a calm move back to the downside, which Bitcoin dominance could also follow. I know that a lot of people are monitoring Bitcoin dominance right now because if it moves up, that could be a sign of concern for altcoins. And that would also assume that the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart would see weakness. You can see we're still holding the higher low, and it's showing strength, in my opinion, unless we break below 65,000 Satoshis. then we can talk about a potential downside scenario. But I'll just be very clear, snipers. In the immediate short term, we are undecided. I am personally bullish for at least a relief rally to 34,000 US dollars. Equity markets are getting slammed right now. We saw Snapchat down over 30%. I think we closed the day 43% down today. I mean, this is a major company in the equity markets, a social media platform, down 43% in one day. Bitcoin has every reason to continue to sell off, but it's yet to break that $28,000 level where we saw prices that only came on the order books when Luna was dumping their $3 billion worth of Bitcoin in their reserves. And so since then, Bitcoin has been calm. When have we seen Bitcoin calm in the past? Well, remember the March of 2020 drop where Bitcoin came down to 5,000 US dollars and slowly inched its way sideways between 5 to 6,000 before grinding back up towards 10,000. And then we started to see more momentum come in. Very similar to right now. We could look back a year from now. This storyline that I've been talking about is still valid, snipers, and say, man, do you remember that capitulation when Luna sold off $3 billion worth of Bitcoin and we came below 28,000 and we've never come back down to test that level ever again? That's on the table. I'm not saying we're going to come to 34,000 and just go parabolic into new all-time highs. There's a potential we could even see a rejection at 34,000. That will come and we'll cover it when it does come, if it does come. But I still stand true to my opinion that I believe Bitcoin is more likely to test 35,000 before it comes to test 25,000. That's the range that we're playing in. It brings it back to the fundamentals of this channel, right? Our red lines are the most important volume and support levels, and volume support and resistance levels. And notice how we are in the midpoint of this large range with a resistance of 35,000, a support of 25,000. I just believe that because on the weekly chart, we have yet to see a relief rally after breaking major support and we got the high volume sell pressure that we were waiting for, that at least at a minimum, we come back up to test 34,000. And our first confirmation will be getting above the previous weekly open at 31,300 snipers. And if we get hourly and 4-hour candle confirmations for those waiting on the sidelines for a long position, that would be the indication that a long position should be initiated with a target of about 10% upside on 10x. We are talking a 100% upside move here on a leverage trade. So let's see what happens, snipers. We took some long positions on altcoins today as Bitcoin was moving up from 29,000 to 29,700, and altcoins were doing well. Remember, the way you trade this market as a day trader, as a margin trader, as a day-to-day opportunist is to take advantage of the altcoins, which are more volatile and they follow Bitcoin versus Bitcoin right now, which is such a large asset that it's very hard to trade on a daily basis and take advantage of its volatility when it's only moving 1 or 2% versus altcoins moving, let's say 3 to 5 to 6% on average when Bitcoin is just moving 1 or 2%, right? So that's why if you're in the margin business, you're taking advantage of the altcoins as Bitcoin is moving. And the cool thing about it is Bitcoin will move up and altcoins will be delayed to that. And then we'll start to see capital come into altcoins because as more confidence goes into Bitcoin, retail and institutions are looking at altcoins like, oh, well, if Bitcoin just moved up 5%, maybe that's altcoin should move 15 or 20% in the next few days. And so that's just how this market works. I'm not going to deep dive into a lesson. If you're on the Discord, we can talk about this stuff all the time. We take trades on a daily basis. And I'll just say this right now, equity markets are being slammed. Bitcoin has every single reason to see further downside, and it hasn't yet. So let's see what happens. Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm if you support these 4-dimensional midnight updates. And we're waiting for Bitcoin to make its move in a channel with a support of 28,000 and a resistance of 31,300. You could be either long or short here. And once we get those confirmations above or below those levels, we will see more volatility come in my opinion. And until next time, we'll continue to monitor the price as always here on the Snipers channel. And we'll see each other tomorrow. Snipers.